Hi everyone, this is Bria. I just wanted to make a quick video on a vegan rant. And so first I want to just say that I'm probably going to at least try to um, turn off the comments on this because I'm going to be telling you a lot of really contradictive statements or things that could really be argumentative, and I just don't really want anyone fighting on this. However, I do want to just point out different facts and different opinions. So this is more for you to just listen and to take in, um, what information I might be giving you, and for you to come up with your own conclusion from that. So this is not something I want people to be like, oh, your opinion is wrong and I want to fight with you about it. Like, that's not what this video is about. I just want to tell you what different opinions are out there and let you make your own opinions from that. So I just kind of want to rant a little bit. I might share with you my own opinions. On some of these things, I don't really have opinions, and I'm still learning about it myself. So I've only been vegan for almost 2 years now, so there's still a few things that I have to learn and a few things that I need to change, but we'll get more into that. I want to start with the bigger statements first and then move down to the smaller, less contradictive things. So let's just go big or go home here. I'm going to go ahead and talk about abortion first. Now, I honestly do not have my own opinion on abortion at this point in time because I do not have enough information to make my own conclusion. What I am here to tell you is two different sides to the story. I'm going to give you one reason that some people think it's a bad thing and one reason that people think it's a good thing. Now, from a vegan standpoint, this is a huge topic because there's so many people that think it's really bad, and there are some people that think it's really good. And here's why. Now, let's talk about animals first. If you have a animal companion and you neuter or spay them, that is for the good of the population. We don't want a million kittens or puppies running around on the streets with no homes, and let's say they don't know how to survive on their own, or we don't want a million of them in the shelters and being euthanized and things like that. So spaying and neutering is really a topic of we don't want euthanasia. We want sorry, my cats are like being crazy. We don't want a whole bunch of animals in the shelter not finding homes. And that's another thing about breeding, and we'll get to that next because that's going to be a topic in a second. But okay, so abortion from, well, I guess it's spaying and neutering is completely different from abortion, obviously. We all know that. So abortion is obviously, it's murdering, or that's one view on it, is that it's murdering a fetus. Well, then another view would be, well, it's not a developed, human yet. So that's the two big, opposing views, is that, on one hand, it's not a real thing yet, and on another hand, people think that it is. And I truly don't know what my own personal opinion is on this topic. But from a vegan standpoint, some people believe that abortion is a good thing because we don't want more humans in the world. Like, we don't need more humans running around. We don't need more kids in foster care or in orphanages. And so it's better to just abort a baby that is unwanted. Then on the other hand, for veganism, it's like, well, we don't kill animals, we don't eat animals, we don't, exploit them or anything like that. So what makes it right for us to abort an unborn baby, essentially? So those are the two big opposing sides, and I'm not really going to get into detail with that because, again, like I said, I don't have my own views on it. So let's move on to the next thing. My next topic would be children. And from a vegan standpoint, again, this is something that can be contradictive between each vegan. So it's not something that, every single vegan it has the exact same standpoint on. I'm giving you two contradicting, arguments and something that one vegan will differ from another vegan. So from kids, obviously, if you already have kids when you go vegan, it's not like you can just decide, I don't want my kids anymore. Like, that's not how it works. But some people on the internet, just wherever, I personally have seen it through Facebook. Some people in the vegan community think that it's not vegan to have children. My personal opinion is a little bit different than that. I don't really understand where they're coming from that. I guess I can understand why a little bit though, just because like you do, if your kids are not vegan, then you have to buy food for them that's not vegan, or you have to, because kids don't have money, they don't have their own money, you have to pay for them. And if they, they buy something that's not vegan, then that's your money that it's coming from. And so I can understand from that point where they're kind of saying that it's not vegan. But essentially, it's not really, your own choice. Like, it's your child's choice after they're old enough to realize what veganism is. And so if you already have children when you decide to go vegan, personally, I don't think it should be a big deal. But there are some people out there that believe that it's not vegan to have children, or at least not vegan to have non-vegan children. And that's kind of where I'm confused, because if your children are vegan, then why wouldn't you be vegan? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say here? So then if you are vegan while, like, before you have kids, then it's a different story. You can either, raise your children to be vegan, or, once they get old enough and they make the decision for themselves, and let's say they decide they don't want to be vegan, then you brought in a baby into the world that is, eating animals and exploiting them and all those negative things. But that's not really what we're here for, because we're all here, we know what veganism is. That's kind of what I'm doing this video about, is for people that are already vegan. So if you are vegan before you have kids, then people on the community, again, this is things that I've seen from the internet, they just say that having children in a physical sense is not vegan in itself, because it's not zero waste, obviously, because your children are going to be wasteful throughout their lives at some point, even if it's just throwing away a straw. It's something just so simple and minuscule. But just bringing in another child into the world is not vegan in some people's mindsets. And again, I'm not really sure what my standpoint is on this, because I know I want children in the future, and I love kids, don't get me wrong. I'm not really sure that I'm ready for them, obviously, but I don't not want children either. And, and even with having my fur babies, it's not quite the same as having a human child that's going to learn from you and grow from you and, you know, take in all the stuff that you're teaching them and trying to show them like how to take care of the planet and stuff. So there's that. And then okay, so moving on, let's talk pets. Now, the word pet I really hate using. Like I think it's kind of degrading almost. And the reason is because the word pet kind of shows like ownership. Like you own your pet, you are the master to your dog or your cat or whatever. Now, with like a rescue animal or an animal that you get from the shelter and not like from a breeder, let's say, would be beneficial because not only are you preventing, you know, a life from being euthanized, you're also preventing more cats from being put into the shelter, and also you are preventing those children, the cats or the dogs, to, you know, be saved from a situation that could have been horrible, you know, for them. They could be stuck in a cage all day, every day, for the rest of their lives. You don't even know how long, or, you know, even if it's not a kill shelter, they're still gonna be in a cage forever, you know. So with the word pet, I really I don't ever use it towards my own animals. And by my own animals, I mean my children, because that's what they are to me. My cats are my children, and I call myself their mom, and I call my husband their dad. Like, they're our children, and that's all they are. I pay for their food, and I pay for their vet appointments, but I don't really ever make them do anything they don't want to do other than vet appointments. They're not like a slave, you know. I don't have them for my own personal gain other than just companionship, you know. And some people on the vegan community think that having a pet is not vegan, and I can understand where they're coming from with the word pet. Having a companion animal is quite a bit different than having a pet, if what I have said, you know, makes any sense to you. So when people say, you know, having a pet is not vegan, that's why. It's because it's showing ownership, and it's showing that you're getting benefit from it, which is not, you know, it's more exploitative. It's not, you know, it's, I hope that makes sense, because I'm finding it hard for me to voice what I'm trying to say here. So if you have any questions on that, just PM me or something, and I can maybe explain it a little bit better. Right now, my thought process is just kind of like out the window. Of course, I try to write it down, and like it's gone. It's gone. So let's go ahead and just move on to the next subject then. And the next subject is your husband or your wife or your, you know, significant other, just whoever is in your life and that you are devoted to. A lot of people say that if your significant other is not vegan, then that makes you also not vegan. And that can be really confusing. I also kind of understand where it's coming from, because if your spouse or whoever, Mouse, don't do that. Sorry, he's scratching on the door. If your spouse is not vegan, then there's like a really large chance that you're going to be paying for something that's not vegan. Like if you go out to lunch and you use your credit card, I mean, for my situation, my husband is not vegan, and he's been doing really good. It's totally a different story, but he does eat meat on occasion, and when he does, we usually use my credit card because the money that he earns goes towards bills, and the money that I earn goes towards like everything else, like the cars, food, and things like that. So when, he buys non-vegan food, it usually comes from my card. And I can understand why people would think that that's not vegan. And yeah, I guess it sucks a little bit, and it would be preferred that, he would be vegan. But we've been together for 6 years, and I don't know, he's gotten a lot better. He used to eat meat all day, every day, and now he's down to like maybe a couple times a week. So, that's a big part of being vegan, I think, is to help other people realize that it's a much healthier lifestyle for you and for the planet and for the animals that you're saving by doing it. Like, even just not eating meat saves lives. And I know there's a huge other topic about activism, and maybe I should write that down because I don't know where my pen went. But that's another topic, is activism. Some people say you're not vegan if you're not an activist, which is kind of a hard topic to really talk about because, I don't really think that's true. Some people say that if you are not an activist, then you're not truly vegan, which I guess I can understand where they're coming from, but I myself don't think that that's true. I know some people have to be activists, but sometimes you have to be a little bit selfish. You can't, for some people it's not enough just to be vegan. You have to go out and you have to pretty much get yourself arrested, or else you're not really a vegan. And I don't think it's good for the planet or for the animals if you're just stuck in prison for the rest of your life. So, there's little things that you can do. You can adopt from the shelter. You can volunteer at shelters or at other places that, other organizations that need volunteers. And you can, there's little legal things that you can do every day that are going to be helpful to the community and to the planet and all that stuff. But I don't think it makes you any less of a vegan if you're not getting arrested for trying to save lives or something, And I greatly appreciate all the people that do those things. And for those of you that do, thank you. And, I'm sure the animals would thank you too if they could. So, it's not that I'm against it or anything. I think it's great that people are able to, and people that are able to, I definitely think you should. But I don't think it makes you any less of a vegan, and that's just my personal opinion. So our next and final, large, contradicting topic is going to be job. And this one is also pretty confusing because the big statement here is that you're not vegan if you have a non-vegan job. But what does that really mean? For most people, that means if you work at a restaurant and you cook meat, or you have to handle non-vegan items. And then there's the opposing statement that, well, everybody has to have a job. Everybody, needs to earn money. And if that's the only job that's available to you, sometimes you have to do it. And I think that there's a big difference between getting a job that has animal products versus doing a job where you have to be the one to like commit the crime, if that makes sense. So like I feel personally like there's a big difference between being a slaughterhouse worker and being a pizza maker, you know? I guess that's just my personal opinion. If you guys have a different opinion, that's totally fine, you know, to each their own, agree to disagree. But I was vegetarian for 6 years before becoming vegan, and that's a totally different story. But while I was vegetarian and slowly transitioning into veganism, I worked at a pizza place. So I was handling meat and I hated it. I thought it was disgusting. The meat was really low quality to begin with, so it was really gross from that aspect. And it was difficult. But I did it because I needed to make money for me and for my future family. So I continued working that job until I got the job that I have now currently, which is a craft store where all of our fur items are mostly fake. At least in my department anyways. It's all fox fur. So I think the job I have now is probably as close to vegan as I can get. And we recycle like everything we throw away. So that's probably as close to zero waste as I can get to, which zero waste is actually a totally different topic, and I don't think I'm going to get to that one today because I don't really know too much about it. And I don't really know any contradicting statements on it. But, however, some people think that if you have a job that is not animal related, like if you don't own a sanctuary or you don't own a no-kill shelter, then somehow you're not vegan, which doesn't make sense because not everybody can be a farmer, you know, not everybody can be a sanctuary owner. And sometimes you just have to be on the lower end. Like a 16-year-old is not going to be able to own their own sanctuary, obviously. They got to start somewhere, and where are they going to start? Businesses that are around them, and most businesses today are not vegan. Hopefully one day that will change. But for now, that's not the case. And so most 16-year-old vegans are not going to work at a store that's 100% vegan. Like, even the places that are vegan today still have items that contain palm oil or sugar bar or bone processed, you know, sugar, which is going to be on our next topic. So, you know, make your own conclusion from that. I don't think it's a big deal, especially if you're just starting out, you know, but maybe if you were a slaughterhouse owner, then I could see how that would not be vegan. Like, that would definitely not be vegan at all. So yeah, go ahead and take from that what you will. Again, make your own conclusions from what I'm saying. This is not a video to have conversations with or to have arguments over. I'm just going to give you my personal opinion, and I just wanted to tell you what statements are out there so that you can do your own research if you'd want, and you can make your own conclusions so that you can decide how you feel about these topics. And, you know, if they make you want to be a better vegan or be a stricter vegan, then that's up to you. Like, this whole video is just all interpretive. So that's it for the contradicting statements, I think. We can go on. I'd like to move on to things that every vegan still probably, well, okay, I can't say everybody, but let's just start by saying cars are not typically vegan. I think at this point in time, there's only 2, I believe, that are certified vegan, at least from what I've heard. That means that every single person that owns a car at this point well, maybe not 8%, like 98% maybe. I have not done my statistics, but I'm guessing that's probably what it's around. Own a car that it is not vegan. Your tires most likely are not vegan. Your steering wheel is most likely not vegan. If you have leather seats, then that's not vegan. So even if you buy a used car, you're still buying a car that has non-vegan products in it. And that's not really escapable at this point in time. Even I think the 1 or 2 cars out there that are vegan are probably way too expensive for any of us to buy them. And then again, you go into the topic of, well, if you buy a brand new car, that's not zero waste at all. It's better to buy a used car for multiple different reasons. And one of those reasons being that if you are buying a car that has non-vegan products in it, such as your steering wheel or your tires or your leather seats, at least you're not buying it directly from the person. You are not paying for the cruelty. Somebody else has already done that. You're just like revamping it, or whatever, however you want to say that. So to say that somebody is not vegan just because they drive a car is kind of ridiculous to me. But some people do it, and some people say that, and I just want you to know. Okay, sorry, somebody knocked on my door. I think I was pretty much done with the car topic, per se. So I'm going to just go ahead and move on to sugar. And sugar is pretty simple. It's a little bit confusing ingredient-wise, because you don't really know. But basically, sugar is not vegan if it's processed with bone char. That's pretty simple to understand. If you're already vegan, you know that bone char is not, it's not vegan because it comes from an animal, obviously. So the confusing part here is, how do you know whether it's been processed with bone char? There's one good way of knowing, and other than that, it's really, you don't know. You don't even know. But the one way you can tell is if it is certified organic cane sugar, because that means it hasn't been processed if it's organic like that. So, that's pretty much it for the sugar. The next one is palm oil, and the reason that people think that palm oil is not vegan is because in order to obtain palm oil, they have to cut down rainforests and destroy habitats. It's like this huge industry that palm oil is basically in everything. Like, it's really hard to escape it. Like, even some things that are certified vegan still have palm oil in them, and that's because palm oil is technically still vegan in the sense that it's plant-based, but it's not vegan in the sense that it's not ethically vegan. So it's, the orangutans will lose their homes and their habitats from the forced, destruction. So for that reason, it's not. And then, so the next one is honey. And a lot of people are confused, not typically vegans, but non-vegans are really confused by this because they don't understand how honey is non-vegan, because it doesn't come directly from an animal the same way that milk does. And a lot of people think, bees are not animals. And that's a little frustrating because it's hard to explain to them, while yes, bees are very different from a cow, it's still a living being that, deserves every right to live as a cow does. Especially when bees are, well, certain kinds maybe at least, are, on the, the lookout for extinction. And a lot of people will argue that we need to eat honey because they're going extinct. Well, that's not necessarily true. What we need to do to help them survive is not steal their food, it's give them more food. We need to plant plants that are going to help them produce and that are going to help them reproduce. So instead of stealing their honey, which is what they eat, why would we steal their food to help them, not be on the extinction list? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's not vegan because it's coming from a living being. And it's more helpful to plant plants for them rather than to eat their food. So you can Google, plants that are good for bees and just plant some, a few feet away from your house or as far as you feel you need to go. And that's going to help a lot. So now my last and final topic of the day is free-range eggs. A lot of new vegans and a lot of non-vegans are really confused on this topic because obviously the eggs that chickens lay that we consume are not fertilized. So with regards to the eggs, it's not really the fact that they are unfertilized, and it's not really the fact that they come from free range or really well taken care of chickens. That's not the problem here. The problem is that it's not ours to take. It's exploitation, and it's wrong to steal from a chicken. Like, that's as simply as I can put it. It's not, this is all up to your own interpretation, but 90% of the vegan community believes that it is not vegan to take eggs from a chicken, and it doesn't matter how that chicken is taken care of. It's kind of like if you for example, if you take in a shelter animal and you give them a nice big home and you give them, food and vet care and just everything they need to be happy. But then towards the end of their life, you just decide to just take them out and eat them. Like, why would you do that? It doesn't matter what the situation is, if you take care of the chicken or not, if you give them a good life or not, it's still, you're taking something that is not yours to begin with. It is a living sentient being's egg. It's not yours. So why would you take it from them? Okay, so that is my personal opinion, and a lot of people agree with me on that last one. You can take everything I've said today and you can just interpret it your own way, however you feel like. I just wanted to let you guys know what's out there and what options you have, and let you make your own conclusions from these statements. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and or follow me on Instagram, not Pinterest. I do have Pinterest though. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.